Orphism refers to a system of religious beliefs and practices that originated in the ancient Greek and Hellenistic world, closely associated with the mythical figure Orpheus. Orpheus is known for his legendary descent into the Greek underworld and subsequent return, embarked on what is termed a katabasis, which is a journey that forms the foundation of various hero myths. Within the framework of Orphism, there is a profound reverence for deities such as Dionysus, who similarly descended into the underworld and emerged anew, and Persephone, who cyclically journeyed into the underworld for a season before returning. This religious tradition is often regarded as a reformulation or reinterpretation of the earlier Dionysian religion, encompassing a reassessment and reconfiguration of Dionysus myth. Additionally, Orphism involves a restructuring of Hesiod's theogony, influenced in part by pre-Socratic philosophy. The reformative nature of Orphism reflects a deliberate effort to reconsider and re-examine existing myths, aligning them with philosophical principles and creating a distinct religious tradition within the broader context of ancient Greek spirituality. And Orphism employed a variety of rituals designed to facilitate the initiation and transformation of participants through a deep connection with the divine and the cosmos. Central to these rituals was the belief in the power of music, poetry, and symbolic rites to evoke transcendental experiences. Initiates often engaged in ecstatic rites, including frenzied dances and the chanting of hymns dedicated to deities like Dionysus. These were believed to induce states of altered consciousness and connect them with the divine realm, often involving the corybantes, mystical figures associated with the rhythmic drumming and ecstatic rites. And the corybantes performed wild, frenzied dances that symbolized the chaos and creation inherent in the cosmos, helping initiates access altered states of consciousness. And rituals included sacred songs and hymns dedicated to deities like Dionysus and Persephone, invoking their presence and guiding initiates through the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. And the use of symbols, such as the phallus and the serpent, represented fertility, regeneration, and the cyclical nature of existence. Other key rituals included the initiation ceremony, which often involved symbolic death and rebirth, reflecting the soul's journey toward purification and enlightenment. The use of sacred objects, such as the thyrsus, a staff entwined with ivy, ritual daggers, and ritual wine, played a crucial role in these ceremonies, serving as conduits for divine presence and transformation. And they would further also engage in fasting and purifying baths, which were seen as preparatory acts to cleanse the body and spirit. And this was done to break the cycle of reincarnation that was in place due to the part Titanic and part Dionysian nature of humanity. And the Titanic aspect represented the primal chaotic forces and hyper-rational aspects within humans, linked to raw instincts, desire, need for control, and a connection to the material world. In contrast, the Dionysian aspect embodied ecstasy, the divine spark within humanity, and the pursuit of divine truth. This duality created a perpetual cycle of suffering and rebirth, wherein souls were trapped in a state of ignorance and earthly attachment. The Orphic rituals, therefore, were designed to facilitate the individual's ascent beyond these conflicting natures, harmonizing the different aspects of what it means to be human, to become like Bacchus. And Thomas Taylor, the Neoplatonist, made significant contributions to the comprehension of the rituals within Orphism, shedding light on the intricate aspects of this religious tradition. According to myths, Orpheus, a key figure in Orphism, is said to have studied in Egypt and introduced the worship of Hecate in certain regions of Greece. Additionally, he encountered the sirens, legendary creatures known for their enchanting songs. And in the face of their captivating melodies, Orpheus played his lyre, producing music that surpassed the allure of the siren songs, thereby resisting their temptations. Orpheus is further credited with reforming the Dionysian mysteries, incorporating elements from the cults of Zeus and Apollo into the Orphic mysteries. The Corybantes, the Greek version of the Choreos, played a significant role in the Orphic mysteries. Within this religious system, the Corybantes symbolized the rebirth of Dionysus. In ancient Greek religion, the Chorets or Corybantes were often depicted as young men or boys engaged in lively and noisy activities, such as music and dancing. Their purpose was to protect the infant god Dionysus from harm. And according to mythology, the Corybantes were believed to have taken the infant Dionysus to Crete, where they raised him in a cave and imparted to him their mystical and ecstatic practices. Additionally, they organized an annual mystery festival on the Eleusinian plains west of Athens, dedicated to the celebration of Demeter and Persephone. And this festival not only honored these deities, but also provided insight into the rituals and practices of the Corybantes. Next to this, the Orphic mysteries were known for incorporating diverse elements from various religious traditions, blending influences from Egyptian and Mesopotamian beliefs, as well as drawing on aspects of Pythagorean philosophy. And the reformation of the Dionysiac religion by Orpheus centered around an inner experience of religious ecstasies, focusing on the quest for liberation from within. So what had been symbolic and external in the previous Dionysiac tradition transformed into an internalized practice within the Orphic mysteries. And while preserving the essence of the old Dionysiac religion associated with Cybele, the Orphic mysteries also integrated elements of the Choreos rituals into their mythological context. This incorporation, especially in connection to the hero's journey aspect, was contextualized within the framework of a dying and rising vegetation deity. So the mystical transformation of these rituals allowed the Orphic mysteries to maintain the spiritual essence of the original Dionysiac tradition while adapting it to an inward contemplative practice. And this internalization reflected the shift from external symbolism to an exploration of the inner self, aligning with the philosophical and mystical elements of Pythagorean thought present in Orphic beliefs. There is also a crucial distinction to be made between the Hellenistic portrayal of Dionysus and the more ancient Orphic horned Dionysus with underworld connections as well. And in the Hellenistic tradition, Dionysus is frequently depicted as the god of wine, revelry, and ecstasy. And the mythology surrounding Dionysus in this form typically revolves around his birth from the union of Zeus and the mortal Semele. However, an interesting thing regarding Semele is that she connects to the goddess Zemina, also known as Zemele. Though it has to be said that this is not Degum as in Gaia, but the sovereignty goddess associated with the snake. She's also linked to the underworld like Zemele is. It's just that standard pi, so Proto-Indo-European studies associates, the Sky Thunder god with the Earth Mother, which is not correct, as the Sky Father, Uranus or Kalus of the day sky is the husband of Degum, not the thunder god, whose wife is the sovereignty goddess, like Odin and Freya, or the Morrigan and the Dagda. The sovereignty goddess too is about fertility of the earth and plants, though not the earth itself. So a goddess associated with the earth and its fertility, so an earth mother, quote unquote, is part of her function. Yet she is not Mother Earth. It's the same distinction the Romans had between Ceres and the Earth Mother. Ceres herself within Roman mythology is also not the Roman Earth Goddess, as this was Terra Mater, Mother Earth. Yet Ceres was however linked to her at some point, but only due to her connection to crops and fertility. Yet often Ceres similarly, is then considered an Earth Goddess. Yet that's not exactly the case. And to now contrast the more ancient Orphic version of Dionysus With the more Hellenistic one, well, the Orphic version is characterized by his underworld connections and is often symbolized with horns. And this portrayal emphasizes a different aspect of the deity, aligning him with the cycle of death and rebirth, drawing connections to the mysteries of life beyond the mortal realm. And in the Orphic traditions, Dionysus is viewed as a vegetation deity, embodying the cyclical nature of life, death, and renewal, as opposed to the more celebratory and festive characteristics emphasized in the Hellenistic depiction. So the Orphic tradition introduced a more mystical and esoteric dimension to the worship of Dionysus, portraying him with associations to the underworld, death, and rebirth. And in the Orphic myth, Dionysus Zagreus emerges as a figure born from the union of Zeus and Persephone, instead of Zeus and Semele. And his story involves being dismembered by the Titans only to be reborn. And the use of horned imagery, in connection to the Orphic Dionysus further ties him to a more chthonic and underworld aspect. And the emphasis within the Orphic tradition lies on spiritual purification and the pursuit of a higher, more transcendent understanding of existence. In contrast to the Hellenistic Dionysus, who embodies the joyful and communal aspects of the god. And the Orphic Dionysus, delves into deeper, more mystical and transformative elements. And from our modern perspective, our understanding of Dionysus often centers on his associations with revelry, celebration, and ritual madness, symbolized by his female followers, the Maenads. However, delving into the Orphic traditions reveals a more nuanced and profound aspect of Dionysus, particularly in his firstborn form as Dionysus Zagreus. And this Dionysus Zagreus also connects to the deity Phanes. Further, an essential component of Orphic beliefs then also revolves around both the soul and their cosmogony. In the Orphic tradition, the Orphic egg, a cosmic egg, was the birthplace from which emerged the primordial hermaphroditic deity Phanes, which they also identified with Eros and Dionysus Zagreus, Phanes being connected to the creation of the cosmos. Phanes as protogonos, meaning firstborn, having been linked to Prayapati by scholars, who was both connected to Brahman as much to Purusha. Purusha being this cosmic giant whose dismemberment by the gods created the universe, and Hinduism refers to him as the soul of the universal spirit present everywhere, in everything and everyone, all the time. And during the Vedic period, Purusha was considered the ultimate sacrificial victim, whose sacrifice was the act of creation, which also has been linked to Yama, and with it regarding both to Yemu from the Proto-Indo-European myth. And his link to Yemu was both connected to sacrifice and kingship from a Proto-Indo-European lens is because the king was seen as both at the center of society and outside of its social order, as such being the figure who would be sacrificed as scapegoat if the social order would fail. And Dionysus as a deity also being this outcast deity, who at the same time was originally meant to be king of the gods after his father Zeus. Further, the cosmic egg is often depicted with the presence of the serpent-like entity Ananke, meaning necessity or fate, coiled around it. In Orphic mythology, Ananke spontaneously emerged at the dawn of creation, presenting herself as an ethereal serpent-like being with extended arms enveloping the cosmos. Ananke and Kronos are depicted as intertwined in serpent form, forming a cosmic bond that encircles the universe. And from this cosmic egg, Phanes, the golden-winged primordial being, emerged as the origin of the universe. Also known as Protogonos, firstborn, and Eros, love, Phanes embodies the essence of creation. And the concept of a world egg is a widespread motif in ancient Proto-Indo-European mythology, symbolizing the primordial state of the universe before the act of creation. Within the Orphic myth, Phanes held the scepter of Nyx for a while, later giving it back to Nyx, who in turn handed it over to her son Uranos. Subsequently, Kronos, by force, seized the scepter from his father, and eventually Zeus took possession of the scepter from Kronos, marking a succession of divine authority within the Orphic tradition. And in some Orphic myths, there is a suggestion that Zeus has the intention to pass the scepter to Dionysus. And this Dionysus, identified as Iacchus, is considered the reborn or third-born Dionysus. And it is this Iacchus that plays a significant role in guiding the initiate out of the underworld and upward towards Mount Olympus. Even Plato himself said that the design of the mysteries is to lead us back to the perfection from which as our beginning we first made our descent. In the context of the soul, Orphics held the belief that the soul becomes imprisoned within the body when entangled, and the purpose of their rites was to disentangle both the intellectual and instinctual aspects of the soul, bringing them into harmony and resolving the titanic dispersion into matter. And this concept aligns with the Jungian idea of projection, where the individuation process involves reconciling and integrating different aspects of the self. Further, Thomas Taylor also played a significant role in the reconstruction of the Orphic and Eleusinian mysteries. As a prominent figure in the Society for the Encouragement of Art, later evolving into the Royal Society of Arts, Taylor leveraged his connections to publish translations of essential works by ancient Greek philosophers, including Plato, Aristotle, Proclus, Porphyry, Apuleius, and Ocellus Lucanus. And his ambitious objective was to translate all the untranslated works of ancient Greek philosophers, and he became the first to render into English the complete works of Plato and Aristotle. And incorporating the insight of Herodotus, who noted that the rites termed Orphic and Bacchic were essentially Egyptian and Pythagorean, Taylor emphasized the influence of Pythagorean doctrines on the Platonic system, where he further stressed the importance of interpreting the great philosopher's ideas accurately, referring to Plato. But this is only the very beginning of us diving deeper into the Orphic mysteries. And within the next episode, we will go much deeper into it and Dionysus himself, going into the Orphic death and rebirth process that was deeply tied to this ancient god. So, stay tuned for more.